Donald Trump is not, is what you can expect from Joe Biden. He literally possesses the characteristics and traits that you would expect from the leader of the free world. I will also say this. You can expect a President Biden that understands the power of our relationships with our allies and friends around the world, like the UK. So you can expect that he will go about enhancing and, in many ways, rebuilding our relationship with the United Kingdom and other countries and friends around the world. But most importantly, you're going to find him leading with compassion, with a sense of equality, a spirit of inclusion. That's just who he is as a human being. He's a good and decent and fine human being, and that's how he leads. He has always led that way, and that's how he will lead as president.
Mo, senior advisor to Joe Biden whilst he was vice president. Thank you so much for joining us. Stay with us on LBC for breaking news. Joe Biden is president-elect. He is the 46th president of the United States of America. You can watch us live on Global Player. You're listening to David Lammy on LBC, and the time now is 5:45.
This is LBC.
And when you hear the sound, you'll forget about all things complicated. Monthly fixed costs, binding contracts, customers forgetting their card. Running your own business? Make card payments simple with SumUp. Get your reader now at sumup.co.uk.
M means your heart never failing to skip a beat every time the engine awakes. M means forever looking forward to the road less traveled. M means every journey starts within and it has an open end. BMW M, the most powerful letter in the world. Discover the BMW M range today.
Start ticking off your Christmas list at John Lewis. Find the perfect gift with seasonal offers including 20% off selected men's and women's fashion, or simply treat yourself to something new. And with hundreds of new click and collect locations to choose from, it's even easier to get Christmas all wrapped up. Offers end 18th of November. Terms and conditions apply.
You wouldn't leave your front door wide open, so why leave your digital world exposed? Bitdefender is the award-winning antivirus solution that protects over 500 million systems worldwide. Tough on threats and light on your system? Get it now at bitdefender.co.uk. Bitdefender. Choose what the experts use.
Here's a question. Would you rather retire with more of your money or less? More could mean an impromptu round of pina coladas for your guests. Less, an uninspiring bag of cheese puffs. When you move your pension to Interactive Investor, you pay a low flat fee rather than percentage rates, meaning you're not charged more as your investments grow. Interactive Investor. Retire with more of your money. Value of your fund at retirement could be less than invested. Seek advice before you transfer a pension to II.
Hey, Rhea. What's it like being the boss?
So many decisions to make, Kev.
Like whether to switch to EE's business full works plan for iPhone?
That was an easy one. I mean, the unlimited data's a must-have. And I get to watch Apple TV Plus when it's time to unwind.
I bet you love bopping along to Apple Music, too.
I've got some moves.
Oh, yeah? Like this, you mean?
Not on work time, Kev.
Get EE's business full works plan for iPhone or get plan envy.
T's and C's apply. Check coverage at ee.co.uk/coverage. Experience may vary by location.
At Morrison's, selected tubs of chocolate are any two for £7. Choose from Celebrations, Heroes, Quality Street and Roses. Morrison's, making it cost less. Majority of stores and online, subject to availability. 600 grams to 650 grams, $3.99 each, ends 8th of November.
This is an important update about coronavirus. To help save lives, new national restrictions are now in place until the 2nd of December. You must stay at home. Only leave home for food, medical reasons, exercise, education or work. You must work from home if you can and avoid travel unless essential. Go to gov.uk/coronavirus for latest guidance and exemptions. Stay alert. Control the virus. Save lives.
Hey, you know what they say, go big or go home. So for a big range of over 3,000 used cars to choose from, Get yourself to Big Motoring World. Find all the makes and models of cars you need at a Big Motoring World location near you. Go to bigmotoringworld.co.uk. Find the menace from the M25. Hit it, ladies.
Big Motoring World. Leading Britain's conversation. LBC with David Lammy.
David Lammy here on LBC this afternoon as Joe Biden becomes president-elect of the United States of America, set to become the 46th president. You can watch live on Global Player. I'm taking all of your calls. Thanks for calling in as the news is breaking. And obviously we're staying up to date with the news. And I hope to speak to Senator Patrick Leahy just after 6 o'clock, the most senior senator in the United States of America, long-term, very close friend of Joe Biden. But on to your calls. Margaret in Edmonton. Margaret.
Hi, David. Hello. I just wanted to just kind of celebrate with you this historic moment.
Margaret, I wish we could have a drink together. I am so happy.
I've got a glass of sparkling water because I'm on antibiotics actually in a wine glass because I'm cheering at the television, and I'll tell you why. The last week, and I'm not even American, and I mean honestly, I've exhaled so many times. Holding my breath the past couple of days has been torture. I've watched everything, and I heard them guys talking before and saying about electoral fraud and stuff like that. Let them do what they need to do, but today they are not going to take it away from the American people. 74 million people who, the popular vote, who have voted for Biden and Harris, have created history. And it's a moment that they can exhale as Americans to say that decency is going to be coming back to the White House. It has been torturous, not just for the Americans, but for people around the world. Margaret, and today, David, we need to say thank you for having integrity, for having calmness, and for being brave to vote.
Margaret, because you're so right. You're so right. I mean, it's one of those moments where it underlines the sanctity, frankly, of democracy. The opportunity for people to change their minds. The opportunity for a great nation, because the United States is a great nation, to underline decency, generosity, hope. And I think a lot of people were voting for that. And right across the world, because of the unpredictability of Donald Trump, because of the meanness, the smallness, the nastiness at times. Margaret, and I'm sensing, like you, there's just a massive sense of relief, frankly, that tide, and let's be clear, a tide that brought with it a very ugly white supremacy, seems to now have come to an end. And I sense it from you, and believe me, I feel it deep in my heart this afternoon.
Can I also say, just as a black woman, and the historicness of Kamala Harris, and, when people say a woman of colour, but she's an African American, and she symbolises so much that we will strive for as black women, and I just want to celebrate that as well today.
Oh, Margaret, thank you so much for mentioning Kamala Harris. And again, this is a significant moment. There are young women across the world that can look to Kamala Harris as a role model, the first woman to become Vice President of the United States of America. It's a huge moment. Of course, we've had women lead our own country here in the UK. We've got a woman president in Angela Merkel. But clearly, this moment for the United States of America, a journey that Hillary Clinton herself wanted to do but didn't quite make it. A glass ceiling has been broken by Kamala Harris, and it's absolutely right that we pay tribute and just pause for a moment at what she has achieved, but also to recognise that Kamala Harris is of Indian and of African descent. So it is a huge moment for people of colour right across the globe that the Vice President is Kamala Harris. Thanks so much for mentioning that, Margaret. It's just such an afternoon, isn't it? It really, really, really is. Will you go to bed easy tonight, Margaret, as a consequence of this?
Very much so. I mean, I've been stuck to CNN and all of the NBC, and I will sleep a little bit easier tonight, knowing that America will be having a president and a vice president that will want to work with the world, across the world. I know it's not going to be finished with all of this litigation and stuff, but to know that they have made this decision I'm just relieved. I'm just so relieved.
I join you with that. Emotional. Thanks so much for joining, Margaret. Call in again. Lovely, lovely to speak to you. Mo in Camden. Mo.
Oh, hi, David.
Hi.
How are you, mate? I'm over the moon. I'm ecstatic. Honestly, this means so much to me. I'm so emotional right now. It's first of all, let me say thank you for breaking the news to me. I was literally driving, listening to you. I had to park up because I was so excited, so happy. Honestly, it's such an amazing
I keep getting overwhelmed with emotion. Mo, I find it so emotional. I'm joyous, frankly, to be sharing this with so many people on LBC. It's wonderful.
Oh, both my parents live in America. I just and two sisters, and I just got off FaceTime with them. And honestly, I've never seen my mother dance across the room she's in her late 70s. She was literally dancing across the room. She's so happy. My dad, my sisters, everyone, they're just so excited in America. And honestly, it just shows what people can do when they come together. I know so many people that have voted for the first time just to get that orange buffoon off the White House. Honestly,
where are your family? Tell me, where are your family?
They're in Minnesota, Minneapolis. They're in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And I've been traveling to America since, God knows, since I remember, since 2002, I think was the first time I went there. And I've gone nearly every year. And since Trump took over, I've seen the difference that man has made, honestly. My sisters have, they're both black, they both wear a headscarf, they're Muslim, and honestly, they've experienced so much racism since 2016, since this man. It's just made it easier for white supremacists and all these people to
come out the woodwork.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, I'm still worried. Because you don't know what this man would do. You don't know what they would do, how they would take this news. And I am worried for them in America.
And, the other thing that people don't realise, is when you get these moments when Donald Trump came to power, you get copycats globally. And just as Margaret Thatcher and Ronald Reagan created a partnership and led to copycats, just as Tony Blair and Bill Clinton created a moment which led to copycats, it's also the case that had Donald Trump got a second term, I think it just fills so many people with anxiety, not just because of him in the United States, but because of the populist, nationalist, hate-filled rhetoric and others that join in that cause across the globe. And Biden winning brings that, hopefully, to an end.
Absolutely. Honestly, I do hope that brings it to an end. And honestly, Trump saying that he's still winning. I mean, he's not going to give up. He's still going to say he won. And it reminds me of my 6-year-old when I'd be in a game and she says, "Daddy, you're cheating." That's exactly, he's acting like a child, like a spoiled child. That's what he's doing right now. And honestly, I'm just so happy right now. If there was no corona, I would invite you over. I would have the biggest party right now.
Mo, I'm looking forward to leaving the studio and celebrating with my family. Thank you so much for calling in, brother. I'm just so pleased. Thank you. And let me just say, more breaking news. A statement from Boris Johnson just put out on Twitter, and Boris Johnson, UK Prime Minister, has said, "Congratulations to Joe Biden on his election as President of the United States and to Kamala Harris on her historic achievement. The United States is our most important ally, and I look forward to working closely together on our shared priorities, from climate change to trade and security." And that's just in from Boris Johnson. You join us on LBC, where Joe Biden has become president-elect, making him the 46th president of the United States of America. He's been projected to beat Donald Trump in the key state of Pennsylvania. All of the US networks have called it. Next, I'll speak to the most senior senator in the United States, Senator Patrick Leahy. I want to continue to hear your reactions on Joe Biden as the 46th president. You can call me on 0345 6060 973. You can text me on 84850, or you can tweet at me on LBC. If you're as emotional as I am, as joyous and as happy as I am, please call in. Or if you're with Donald Trump, I want to hear from you as well.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC.
From Global's newsroom at 6 o'clock, Joe Biden says he'll be a president for all Americans after beating Donald Trump in the race to the White House.
The moment the entire country has been waiting for after a very close race. NBC News now projects that Joe Biden has won the Keystone State, Pennsylvania.
CNN projects Joseph R. Biden Jr. is elected the 46th president of the United States, winning the White House and denying President Trump a second term.
The announcements came after Mr. Biden was projected to have won Pennsylvania, giving him the 270 electoral college votes he needed. He's also won Nevada. President Trump will leave the White House on Inauguration Day, January the 20th. He hasn't conceded the election and is playing golf after sending a number of messages alleging electoral fraud, but without offering any evidence. His lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, has spoken in Philadelphia, which is in Pennsylvania. He claimed Republican observers weren't allowed access to disputed ballot papers.
Some of the ballots you will see looked suspicious. From very far away, they look like same pen, possibly same handwriting. We can't say that because we never got to see it.
President Biden's running mate, Kamala Harris, makes history. She'll become the first woman vice president and the first African-American vice president. This is part of the call she made to Joe Biden.
We did it, Joe. You're going to be the next president of the United States.
Donald Trump will leave the White House after one 4-year term. His biographer, Gwenda Blair, thinks his children might look to follow in his footsteps.
I think there's going to be a succession for which one of them would perhaps be emerging as the next leading figure to take over for the family. There's also been talk about whether Donald Trump could run again in 2024. I have no doubt that that is going to be a very loud conversation.
Mr. Biden has been congratulated by Boris Johnson, the Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer and the Welsh First Minister Mark Drakeford, who says he wants to build on the strong links between Wales and the USA. And the weather, rain moving up the west coast of the UK tonight with some heavy bursts. Elsewhere, a murky night with fog in eastern England, a low of 5. Cloudy but mild for many tomorrow with some sunshine in the northwest, chilly in the northeast where fog will be slow to lift, a high of 15. From Global's newsroom, I'm Tim Humphrey.
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with David Lammy.
It's David Lammy here on LBC. History in the making this afternoon as Joe Biden becomes president-elect of the United States of America. It's a huge honour for me to be presenting and leading Britain's conversation this afternoon. And we are joined now by Senator Patrick Leahy, the US Democrat senator and the most senior senator in the United States and father of the House in the US Senate. Senator Leahy, are you with us?
David, I am, and if I interrupt just because I'm giggling, you'll understand why.
Now, Patrick, we've got to tell the audience we are great friends over many, many years and love to you and to Marcel. And of course, you know my wife, Nicola. So this is a little bit of a loving moment for us across the pond, right?
In fact, Marcel just said, make sure you send my best to Nicola. I mean, I'm looking on the wall at one of her prints on our wall in our home in the Washington area. So we think of you all the time.
Look, this is a glorious moment. Just tell the UK audience, you have been in the Senate for 46 years. You have seen successive presidents come and go. Democrat and Republicans from Nixon through Ford, through Reagan, Carter, Clinton, Obama. It's a staggering list. Tell us what to expect from Joe Biden and what this moment means for the United States and the world.
Well, when I came to the Senate, Joe Biden and I were the two youngest members of the Senate and two most junior. And so we've been good friends ever since. And I know him probably as well as anybody. And we both talked about how we've gone through an awful time here in the United States, a polarizing time. You've heard the racist tweets from Donald Trump and comments. And I think when Joe picked Kamala Harris to be his running mate, he made a couple of very important things. One, she'd be the first woman to be either president or vice president.
That's right.
Of course, it's a person of color, and he's reflecting need for that, just as your friend. I know you and Barack Obama are good friends, and as Barack Obama did. And I think it brings unity into our country. I've never seen the United States so split apart. I mean, I've been there with Republican and Democratic presidents. They all, whether you agreed with them on everything or not, they all had the same thing. They tried to bring people together. And this is what I think the Joe Biden will do. We've seen a president who has done his best to push us apart, and now we see a president who is bringing us together, or will bring us together. And he and Kamala can do that better than anybody I know.
And what does he have to do, Senator Leahy, to bring the country together, given that Donald Trump is threatening to take this right to the wire and through to the courts? What's he got to do?
Well, the things where Donald Trump is talking about bringing it all the way to the courts and everything, I'm a lawyer. I have probably one of the best legal staffs from my work on judiciary. Every one of us realize there is no legal grounds that Donald Trump has to delay or overturn this. He is doing that as a political thing for his followers. I think it's a mistake. What a president should be doing is trying to bring us together. I remember when Al Gore had more votes than George Bush, but lost because of Florida. Al made a very strong statement for the country to come together. And I talked with Al this weekend, and we talked about that and what a difference it is with Donald Trump. All the presidents I've been with and known, I've been able to work with them. All of them, if we agreed on something, they kept their word. This president, Donald Trump, you can't really negotiate anything with him because he might agree to something, and by the time you're in your car driving back up Capitol Hill, he's tweeted out something entirely differently. And the one thing certainly with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, Joe had a reputation at the Senate that he always kept his word, and Kamala the same way. So if I sound a little bit
you're entitled to sound
happy,
emotional. Oh my God. Look, I just wish I don't know, we were having a whiskey together, Senator Leahy. But let me just say, obviously here, we've seen some of the unrest in the United States. Clearly, Donald Trump is not striking a tone that suggests a smooth transition. Are there any concerns about unrest over the coming weeks and months in the United States?
There is concern about unrest, and Trump, if he keeps making the comments he has, is going to stir that up. I think it's time for him to say, okay, the American people have spoken, especially as Joe Biden got more than 4 million more votes, and the number keeps climbing, than Donald Trump. I think that's as strong a rejection of any president, certainly in my lifetime. And I think that he has got to ask people to come together. He's got to start doing things to lower the racial tensions. You know, they were going down with Obama. They've gone up now. And you know our family. We have both whites and blacks in our family. And they should all be treated exactly the same. And they shouldn't. The children shouldn't have to worry if they're going to be judged on their skin color. And I think that Joe Biden certainly understands that. Kamala certainly understands that. Maybe we can bring the United States back to where it should be.
Senator, how significant is it that it does look at this moment like the Democrats have not been able to take both houses, which makes things a bit harder? Now, we know that Joe Biden has years of experience, like you, of working across the political divide, working with Republican colleagues. How easy is it going to be to make the moves that he wants to make to take us forward on issues like, for example, climate change?
Well, I think it's going to be difficult because Mitch McConnell, the Republican Senate leader, has tried to reject anything of a progressive nature. But, you know, we still have two more races. They're going to have to be done in Georgia. Now, the numbers seem to lean toward Republicans, but also the numbers say that Donald Trump would carry Georgia and Joe Biden carried it. If those two seats switch to Democrats, well, then the Democrats will be in the majority. But what I've done, I've been reaching out for the last few days to Republicans and Democrats in the Senate. I'm the dean of the Senate. They listened to me, and I said, when we get back there, let's try working together. It's been difficult the past few months because we've been working remotely and only show up with masks on our face when we actually have to vote. And you know that beautiful office I have in the Capitol with a balcony overlooking the mall. I have, over the years, have a reputation, especially around sunset time, to invite, if we're in session, to invite senators down there of both parties to have prayer hour in holy water. Now, the holy water might be single malt. It might be 12-year-old. And so much so that it's been, I'll have senators of both parties come up to me and say, hey, Patrick, when are we going to have prayer hour? but we're going to try that again. And
that's the spirit. That's the spirit.
And I think Joe Biden's going to do a lot of that. He's going to, even though he doesn't drink, but he's going to have people down. Let's have a breakfast, lunch, dinner, and because we know him so well, it will be very informal.
Senator, we were sitting in Washington, I think it was about 18 months ago. It was a cross-party delegation of Republicans, Democrats, Labour and Conservative here from the UK, talking about the special relationship that the UK and the US have. Can you just say something? Because Joe Biden has immense foreign policy expertise. We've not seen that, frankly, in the White House for many, many years, an individual with such immense foreign policy expertise. What does this signal for the UK-US relationship? Hugely important. And the resetting, clearly, that Boris Johnson's going to have to do because he's been particularly close to Donald Trump in these last few years.
Well, David, you raise a very important question. As you know, you and I have been together in interparliamentary groups, but I've done those with other countries too. And I've been hearing from a lot of people around the world saying, what's happened to the United States? What happened to our relationships? And, of course, our closest is with the UK. I visit your intelligence people and military parliamentarians and all, and you see that closeness, and they've been concerned. Our close relationship has been good for both countries. knowing Joe Biden, he understands this so much better than Donald Trump ever did. I have a feeling he is going to start working almost immediately. It'll be done quietly at first. It'll be done more openly afterward to repair our relationships.
Thank you so much, Senator Patrick Leahy, for joining us this afternoon here on LBC. So grateful to have the most senior senator in the United States join us here on LBC. Good friend of Joe Biden, good friend of mine in this joyous, joyous moment. Stay with us on LBC for breaking news that Joe Biden is president-elect. He's the 46th president. You can watch us via the Global Player. You're listening to David Lammy on LBC, and the time now is 6:15.
LBC.
As winter approaches, here's a critical reminder of coronavirus symptoms from Dr. Gupta.
The main symptoms of coronavirus are a high temperature or a new continuous cough or a sudden loss or change in your sense of smell or taste. If you have any of these, to protect yourself and others, it is critical you isolate at home, even if you don't feel too bad. And you must book a test immediately. Use the NHS COVID-19 app or go to gov.uk/coronavirus.
Stay alert, control the virus, save lives.
At Morrison's, selected 1 litre bottles of spirits are $15.99 each. Choose from Smirnoff, Gordon's, Famous Grouse and many more. Morrison's, making it cost less. Majority of stores and online, subject to availability, exclude Scotland and Wales. Please drink responsibly.
And when you hear the sound, you'll forget about all things complicated. Monthly fixed costs, binding contracts, customers forgetting their card. Running your own business? Make card payments simple with SumUp. Get your reader now at sumup.co.uk.
From now until Monday the 9th of November, you can buy an approved used car from Volvo Select with 0% APR finance. With over 150 checks, so no need to kick the tires. A 12-month warranty, which you'll probably never use. And the latest software upgrades, which you definitely will. Visit volvocars.co.uk now to book your virtual appointment.
Used vehicles up to 4 years old. Participating retailers. 50% deposit on minimum £7,000. Conditional sale. Terms, eligibility, guarantee requirements and conditions apply. Volvo Car Financial Services.
We've got it at Selco. Selco, it's where the trade goes.
At Selco Builders Warehouse, we've got real deals on a wide range of trade quality building products. In November, we've got 65mm Class B engineering bricks for just 39p each, excluding VAT. Now that's a real deal. Find even more real deals at Selco Builders Warehouse and online at selcobw.com. Selco, serving the trade for 125 years.
We've got it at Selco. Selco, it's where the trade goes.
That charged at 20%.
Have a painting party, they said. It'll be fun, they said. Turns out, Prosecco and paintbrushes don't mix, and you can't always trust your friends to decorate your house. Thankfully, at trustedtrader.com, you can find plenty of vetted, reviewed, reliable professionals in an abundance of trades. Like a painting pro, minus the Secco. After all, friends are for painting the town, not the walls.
TrustedTrader.com. This is an important update about coronavirus. To help save lives, new national restrictions are now in place until the 2nd of December. You must stay at home. Only leave home for food, medical reasons, exercise, education, or work. You must work from home if you can and avoid travel unless essential. Go to gov.uk/coronavirus for latest guidance and exemptions. Stay alert, control the virus, save lives.
The only 'cause it's Friday food. The impulse saw it in the queue and thought of you. The midweek treats. Yay! Debit MasterCard is the safe and easy way to pay online, in-store or on the move. For the little things that make every day priceless. Debit MasterCard. Learn more at mastercard.co.uk.
This is LBC with David Lammy. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
It's David Lammy here on LBC. Join us on Global Player as we play live this afternoon, this historic afternoon in which Joe Biden has become president-elect. of the United States of America, set to become the 46th President of the United States. It's a huge, huge moment. Thank you so much for calling in. I'm going to try and take more of your calls, but we're getting reaction from across the world, particularly. And I've got Reverend Mark Thompson, who is a political and civil rights activist, host of the Make It Plain podcast, who joins me. Reverend Thompson, thank you so much. What does this moment mean to you and to so many who I suspect look and feel like you?
Well, first of all, my brother, thank you for having me. It is an historic moment. First of all, getting rid of Donald Trump is a very big deal. We've lost more lives in this country than in any other country around the world to someone who really has not cared about addressing the pandemic and has practiced and promoted an ideology of racism, xenophobia, sexism, misogyny, homophobia. So this is a big deal. He has divided America. And what Biden and Harris have done is create an opportunity to reunite America. First of all, Joe Biden having served under the first African-American president, and now to have the first woman, African-American woman, Asian woman, Caribbean woman. She checks a lot of boxes. And, you know, man, reflects the world. You know, I mean, so many of us have such diverse pedigrees these days. And because at the end of the day, race is a social construct. It's not a real thing.
Yeah.
And so it's proud. Now I'm talking to you all in Britain. 40 years ago, or 41 years ago, Margaret Thatcher was elected prime minister. We still in America have not had a woman in the White House. And you all have had two prime ministers, not to mention a queen for 60 some odd years. We can't even get it together here in America. So this is a very big deal, my brother.
And let's just rest on Kamala Harris, a woman walking into the White House as vice president, a woman of Indian and Caribbean, African-American descent. I mean, what does that mean? It is a breakthrough moment. What does it mean? Just let's dwell on that.
Well, if we look at the political and cultural institutions in America, particularly in the struggle for civil rights and social justice, women have been the backbone, even when they've not been in the forefront. Okay, a lot of men historically have gotten credit for historical moments.
That's right.
But if it weren't for women, particularly black women and other women of color, these things just would not have happened. So this is a moment for African-American women and women of color overall, if not all women, to embrace. Because again, we've never even had a woman run the government. So it is quite an historical moment. And there are many of us men who support that are of another generation, who don't feel threatened by women in power or women in leadership. And I think it's high time that we give women an opportunity. We elect women to have the opportunity to make change. We as men have been making mistakes for centuries. So women who have helped to uphold this country, and when you think about it too, look at how they won. Her African ancestors had a hand in that. I mean, this was our people picked cotton in Georgia. Georgia changed the tide. They escaped on the Underground Railroad to Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania changed the tide. Mm-hmm. Prior to the Civil War, our African-American ancestors pioneered the early West, which only consisted of Michigan and Wisconsin. The United States hadn't gone far enough west yet. The Revolutionary War just ended. So those were African-American ancestor spirits in Michigan and Wisconsin that made the difference. And then after World War II, there was the great African-American migration from the plantation back again to Michigan and Wisconsin and Nevada and Arizona to build American industry. So because we peopled all of these segments of the country, those were the pockets of votes that made the difference to allow the first African American, the first Jamaican, the first Indian woman to occupy the White House.
My mother used to say, live up to your ancestors' prayers. Whenever I was feeling sorry for myself as the descendant of enslaved people, she would just remind me, live up to your ancestors' prayers. And I guess that's what you're signaling, that there were some prayers that we would continue. And there is Kamala Harris making history. And of course, it's important too to pay tribute to someone else who broke that glass ceiling and should not be forgotten in this moment. And that is, of course, Hillary Clinton, who tried to get there, didn't quite make it. But of course, in a sense, this reset moment also harked back to what happened in 2016 as America seeks to unite, I hope and I pray, and come together. Do you think that's the right assessment of this moment?
It is the right assessment. First of all, your mother's right. I was talking with some young Gen Zers, who sometimes young people don't feel like voting mass. We were talking to young people, oh, this doesn't matter. I don't feel like doing this. And one of the elders said, well, think about how Fannie Lou Hamer might have felt, or Shirley Chisholm, or people like that who gave their lives for this struggle. As far as Hillary Clinton is concerned, of course, she made history. She won with the popular vote. But to be very honest, Hillary Clinton was a victim of decades of deep-rooted sexism and misogyny in this country. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Even Britain was more progressive in terms of electing women politicians. Now, mind you, they were conservatives, but at least there was support for women politicians. In this country, America is just behind. And I'm old enough to remember when Hillary Clinton came into the White House, her aspirations were such that people felt threatened. And there was a 30-year campaign against her to affect the public's opinion of her. So she would not be elected president. I mean, let's face it, that's literally what happened. And it was only because she was a woman. Only because she was a woman. But this changes things. That crushed the morale of many of women in the electorate in America. But this raises it back up. And I like the words you use. This is a reset.
Reverend Mark Thompson, thank you so much for joining us here on LBC this afternoon. Hugely grateful. Let's go to Simon Marks, our LBC reporter in Washington. Simon, what's the latest?
Well, David, we know now that Joe Biden, the president-elect of the United States, will be addressing the nation in around 6.5 hours' time. Fireworks and a light show planned in Wilmington, Delaware, where he spent the last 96 long hours waiting for the moment that we knew a couple of days ago was inevitable. He would open up a substantial enough lead over Joe Biden in Pennsylvania, over Donald Trump in Pennsylvania, in order formally to be declared the president-elect of the United States. The streets of this city, a Democrat stronghold, Washington, D.C., are alive with celebration. This has been going on now for nearly 2 hours since we first brought you the news here on LBC that Joe Biden had won it. We have still heard nothing from President Donald Trump on the golf course. The last tweet from him, I won this election by a lot. I would say this is still a combustible situation. While we're seeing celebrations in Democrat strongholds, Washington, New York, San Francisco, Chicago, everyone out on the streets. In the other half of the country, the 70 million people who voted for Donald Trump will not be in celebratory mood. And the words that Donald Trump next uses in his next public pronouncement, whether it's on Twitter or on camera, are going to be hugely important in determining determining where things go over the course of the next several hours here. We've just had a statement in from Joe Biden's former boss, Barack Obama. I could not be prouder to congratulate our next president, Joe Biden, and our next First Lady, Jill. I also couldn't be prouder to congratulate Kamala Harris and her husband for Kamala's groundbreaking election as our next vice president. In this election, writes Barack Obama, under circumstances never experienced, Americans turned out in numbers never seen, and once every vote is counted, President-elect Biden and Vice President-elect Harris will have won an historic and decisive victory. I know he'll do the job with the best interests of every American at heart, whether or not he had their vote, writes Barack Obama. I encourage every American to give him a chance and lend him your support. Let's see in the hours ahead whether Donald Trump finds similar cadences to try and unify this country, or whether he continues to insist that he's going to pile money into legal actions that at this point, David, are A, irrelevant, and B, stand no chance whatsoever of success.
Simon Marks, LBC's Washington correspondent there. Thank you so much, Simon. We'll come back to you a little later. You're listening to David Lammy on LBC. It's 6:30 and it's time for the news with Tim Humphrey.
Joe Biden has won the US presidential election. Donald Trump will leave the White House in January after a single term as president. Mr. Trump is still promising legal action, but hasn't presented any evidence to back up his claims of voter fraud. His lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, has alleged that Republican observers were not allowed to see disputed ballot papers in Pennsylvania. The result means America has its first woman vice president in Kamala Harris. She will also be the first African-American vice president. And the weather, rain moving up the west coast of the UK tonight with some heavy bursts elsewhere, a murky night with fog in eastern England, a low of 5.
This is LBC.
eBay is home to thousands of sellers who are brilliant, real people, just like you and me. Meet Jack Sutcliffe from Powersheds, winner of the Innovation Award at the 2020 eBay for Business Awards.
Powersheds are a manufacturing company selling garden sheds, potting sheds and bike sheds. Sales have been really good this year. Lockdown has actually helped us due to everybody at home in the garden rather than going on holiday. Being a startup, cash flow is particularly important, and selling on eBay was perfect for us because we receive payment quickly. A huge thank you to our eBay customers. We know it's a challenging time, and thanks for all the support and the feedback you have given us.
Brilliant things happen when you buy from real people. Buy, sell, eBay.
A consideration is what I can do at the end of my life to help my children with some sort of legacy, financial legacy. When you're working weekends, Christmas, bank holidays, working when everybody else is playing, there's a purpose for that, and that's the family.
If you're looking to help out the family, Nationwide Building Society's Later Life mortgage range may be able to help you with just that. To find out if releasing equity is right for you, search Nationwide Later Life. Nationwide Building Society. Age and lending restrictions plus other T's and C's apply. Your mortgage is secured on your home, which you could lose if payments are missed.
From now until Monday the 9th of November, you can buy an approved used car from Volvo Select with 0% APR finance. With over 150 checks, so no need to kick the tires. A 12-month warranty, which you'll probably never use. And the latest software upgrades, which you definitely will. Visit volvocars.co.uk now to book your virtual appointment.
Used vehicles up to 4 years old. Participating retailers. 50% deposit on minimum £7,000. Conditional sale. Terms, eligibility, guarantee requirements and conditions apply. Volvo Car Financial Services.
At Morrison's, cases of wine are £30 each. That's £5 a bottle. Choose from Campo Viejo Rioja, Brancott Estate Sauvignon Blanc, and many more. Morrison's, making it cost less. Majority of stores and online. 6 times 75 centilitre bottles exclude Scotland and Wales. Please drink responsibly.
Need more sunshine? Vitabiotics Ultra Vitamin D helps you maintain normal immune function, and the UK Department of Health recommends everyone considers a vitamin D supplement. So try one tiny Ultra Vitamin D tablet a day from Vitabiotics, the UK's #1 vitamin company. From Boots, pharmacies and vitabiotics.com.
We've got it at Selco. Selco, it's where the trade goes.
At Selco Builders Warehouse, we've got real deals on a wide range of trade quality building products. In November, we've got a 25 kilogram plastic bag of Rugby Premium cement for only £3.79 each, excluding VAT. Now that's a real deal. Find even more real deals at Selco Builders Warehouse and online at selcobw.com. Selco, serving the trade for 125 years.
We've got it at Selco. Selco, it's where the trade goes.
VAT charged at 20%.
Oh, hello, John. Do come in. Just, be careful of the dog.
Don't worry. Dogs love me. They love me.
Unfortunately, Pension B can't make you pet confident, but we can transfer most old pensions together into one simple online plan that you can easily access from your smartphone, anytime, anywhere.
Sparky, give the nice man his arm back.
Be pension confident. Download the app or visit pensionb.com to sign up.
Authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority. Capital at risk.
David Lammy on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
It's David Lammy here on LBC on this historic afternoon as Joe Biden becomes President-elect of the United States of America and the 46th President of the United States. It's a big moment, of course, for our own country because of that enduring special relationship between our country, the UK, and the United States of America, whoever, frankly, is the incumbent in the White House or indeed in number 10. And for all sorts of reasons, in a cross-party way, all of us hope that Boris Johnson will be able to strike a good relationship with Joe Biden, the new President of the United States. I'm joined by Tobias Ellwood, my Conservative colleague in Bournemouth East and former Defence Minister. Tobias, I know many listeners might not know this, that in fact there are many Conservatives who identify with the Democrats, who've traditionally been very much on the sort of centre-right, centre-left spectrum. How are you feeling this afternoon?
Well, I'm really pleased that there is a result. This has been an ugly display of the democratic process, if we're honest. The enduring election that we've seen, it's been very divisive in the United States. And my concern was it was going to drag on even further. I think something we both share is adversaries around the world, China and Russia, want to point to this, to say
That's
this
right.
isn't why you want democracies, the pandemic as well. This isn't why you want to go down this road. We can do things much better. So I do urge President Trump to do the right thing.
Yeah.
I've just tweeted myself some of the speeches given by George Bush and by McCain as well, who very gracefully attributed and gave thanks to the winner and said the country must unite behind the next United States president. And that's what we need to hear from Donald Trump.
Now, there's a job on for Boris Johnson. He has been historically close to Donald Trump. There's no doubt about it. There's going to be split hairs on it. That has been the case. But just as we've seen in the past, David Cameron struck a good relationship with Barack Obama. What has Boris got to do now? And how does this change things in your assessment, with your defence expertise particularly? How does this change things with Biden now stepping into the White House?
Well, I'm glad you frame it in that context. Britain works very closely with whoever is in the United States, and whether it be Clinton and go back to Blair, he then made the transition from Blair to Bush as well. We're able to move into that new chapter, to find ways of working together and keeping that enduring bond alive, because we share the same values and perhaps a willingness to step forward and defend those values when other nations perhaps hesitate. But I will say this from a security perspective, the world is getting more dangerous, more complex. Threats are becoming more diverse, often beneath the threshold of conflict itself. And yet we saw over the last 4 years, the West lack a sense of resolve, sense of purpose, if you like, of what we believe in, what we defend, what we're willing to step up to the plate for. And I'm afraid that's partly because Donald Trump wasn't willing to invest in alliances, invest in the West as a whole. He was very much focused on the United States, promoting the United States, America first. The one thing he did do was perhaps wake us all up to where China, the regime, wants to go, and I think that's good. What we will see with Biden is far more energy placed into us working together as one, and that's why it's so critical now that Britain gets in there as well. We ourselves have stepped back from the international circuit a little bit, distracted by Brexit. I've just read Dominic Raab's tweets, but it's a cautious congratulations there, talking about irregularities. The man has won. Get on the bat phone and congratulate him. That's what I want to hear.
Absolutely, Tobias. And look, just in terms of those key issues, we've got climate change and the Paris Accord. We've got the Iran deal and hopefully the United States coming back on track with that. And very, very importantly for us, we've got a trade deal. Now, it looked like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it looked like senior Conservatives were hoping for a pretty quick trade deal with the United States on exiting the European Union in the next few days. Because of what's been signalled by Democrats, particularly in the House led by Nancy Pelosi, it looks likely now that will not go quite as quickly. And you know, like I do, that in the end, politicians set the tone and officials that might have been negotiating the detail pause when there's a change of the guard. So the deal that we were hoping for with the United States probably has been set back a bit in time. Is that your assessment?
I don't think it makes any difference. What we forget is that whether the President, Trump, wanted this to go through and were keen to help Britain, it still had to go through its own Congress. And that dynamics hasn't changed. They have their own legislative structure of checks and balances. If anything, we're likely to see a trade deal now advance, probably in a more measured and more civilized way than we saw before. And the fact that you've got still the House of Representatives by the Democrats themselves, yes, the Senate is Republican there as well. But I think you can have a more moderate approach, a more measured approach, a more conciliatory approach to get that trade deal. But I emphasize our vision to work closely with the United States because of the security aspects. And if I may just take the opportunity, we can't go to the United States and say we're with you on the international stage. We want to, challenge some of the issues around the world if we don't conclude our own integrated review. How can we understand our place in the world if we've not confirmed it by our own study, which the integrated review was supposed to provide? I do hope this will energize Whitehall, confirm the integrated review, make sure the spending commitments are there. We can then go to the United States, to Joe Biden, and say, we're with you. Let's move the West forward. Let's stand up and provide a counterweight to what China is actually offering to. Let's reinvigorate what the West stands for.
Tobias Ellwood, thank you so much for bringing your defence expertise to the show this afternoon. That's Tobias Ellwood, Conservative MP for Bournemouth East and former Defence Minister. Now, let's go back to Ben Kentish, LBC Washington correspondent on the streets of Washington. What's it like, Ben? I envy you.
The party is in full swing, David. I'm just by the White House. You can hear, I'm sure, the music is blaring. The cars are blaring their horns. There are star-spangled banners being waved. There are placards. It feels like being, frankly, in the middle of a carnival. People took to the streets as soon as that result was really confirmed, and the party is really just getting going outside the White House, where Donald Trump, we're not sure if he's back from his golfing trip yet, but there's no doubt he will be hearing this noise, this party, this music, these cheers, all celebrating the end of his presidency. Whether he accepts that is happening is a different matter. But here on the streets of Washington, people are in no doubt. The election is over. Joe Biden has won it. And here, at least, they could not be happier.
Ben, just tell me, we know that Donald Trump is not going to go easy. We see that from his tweets. We saw it in the press conference. Is there a sense in America that there's anybody with him on this? I mean, Fox News, I imagine they've called it too for Joe Biden. What's the sense from those who are perhaps not quite euphoric, as euphoric as those around you?
There are, David, there are still people in the Republican Party, those around President Trump, his family, who are still condoning and going along with this idea that the election was stolen from him, that he was robbed, and that he ultimately won this poll. Even people like Ted Cruz, quite experienced Republican senators, some of them, are going along with what is, we must be honest, David, a charade. He did not win this election. That has become abundantly clear. The question really, and we've been talking to some Republicans here, people like John Bolton, President Trump's former national security advisor, the question is, who, if anyone, can go up to President Trump in the Oval Office and say, look, I'm really sorry, Mr. President, but you've got to accept this is over? And the answer to that question, at least from the people like John Bolton, is they do not believe there is anyone in the White House now who is able and capable of doing that to the extent that Donald Trump will listen. So the expectation is it will fall on Senate leaders, other senior Republicans outside the White House, people like Mitch McConnell, to, when the time is right, possibly not yet because there are still legal cases to be decided on, but when that time comes, to go in there, David, and say, actually, Mr. President, the time is up. You do yourself a favour, stop this, accept it, and go gracefully.
Ben, it's a bit like the men in white coats coming in to wheel him out. We look to see...
Well, it's like the men in grey suits, David,
all the men in grey suits, absolutely.
Who did for Thatcher, and also went in and told Nixon during Watergate that he had to go. So we may be in a situation very soon where that happens again.
Ben Kentish, LBC's Washington correspondent on the streets of Washington. And of course, we will go back to Ben over the course of the evening. You're listening to David Lammy here on LBC, and the time now is 6:45.
This is LBC.
At Morrison's, selected tubs of chocolate are any two for £7. Choose from Celebrations, Heroes, Quality Street and Roses. Morrison's, making it cost less. Majority of stores and online, subject to availability, 600 grams to 650 grams, $3.99 each, ends 8th of November.
From now until Monday the 9th of November, you can buy an approved used car from Volvo Select with 0% APR finance. With over 150 checks, so no need to kick the tires. A 12-month warranty, which you'll probably never use. And the latest software upgrades, which you definitely will. Visit volvocars.co.uk now to book your virtual appointment.
Used vehicles up to 4 years old. Participating retailers. 50% deposit on minimum £7,000. Conditional sale. Terms, eligibility, guarantee requirements and conditions apply. Volvo Car Financial Services.
As winter approaches, here's a critical reminder of coronavirus symptoms from Dr. Gupta.
The main symptoms of coronavirus are a high temperature or a new continuous cough or a sudden loss or change in your sense of smell or taste. If you have any of these, to protect yourself and others, it is critical you isolate at home, even if you don't feel too bad. And you must book a test immediately. Use the NHS COVID-19 app or go to gov.uk/coronavirus.
Stay alert. Control the virus. Save lives.
I know it's here somewhere. I just had the tab open, but which one? There's a million. Oh, not that one, not that one. Oh, where are you, you shiny little phone? Oh, I know, search history. Oh, get rid of that. And that. Delete.
Your search is over. Our best ever Black Friday is here. Save up to £400 on the stunning Samsung Galaxy S20 FE. Search your tool Black Friday.
On select tariffs, £40 off device plan and £360 airtime discount based on 36-month contract. O2 Refresh credit by Telefonica UK Limited. Eligibility and terms apply.
It's oh so quiet.
Before the sun rises and the day slowly wakes.
It's oh so
before the morning jogs and the school runs. Before heading off to work or the home office, there is Worcester Bosch. Always warm, always there. Before everything, there's Bosch. Worcester Bosch. Search Worcester Bosch for more.
And when you hear the sound, you'll forget about all things complicated. Monthly fixed costs, binding contracts, customers forgetting their card. Running your own business? Make card payments simple with SumUp. Get your reader now at sumup.co.uk.
Swale Heating. Once we've installed your boiler, we don't disappear. Poof, like a puff of smoke. Our UK call centre is here 24/7. So, we can take the time to help you when you need us. swaleheating.com. Rely on us to keep you warm.
If you want to be big, you've got to think big. That's why at Big Motoring World, we've grown even bigger. With 3 sites around London, including our newest car supermarket near Enfield. Enjoy massive savings and a car-zillion cars. See the choice online at bigmotoringworld.co.uk or visit us just minutes from the M25 at Bluebell Hill, West Malling, and Enfield. Go Big Motoring World.
Leading Britain's Conversation, LBC, with David Lammy.
David Lammy here on LBC. Stay with us on LBC for breaking news as Joe Biden becomes president-elect. And of course, you can watch us via the Global Player. Download the app. Now to your calls. Nick in Oregon. Nick.
Good morning. Good morning from Oregon. It's just going 10 till 11 here. I'm a long-time listener, first-time caller into LBC. I'm a second-generation British-American. My gran was from Bedfordshire. And I listen to a lot of British media, and I pay attention to American politics very much as well. So I'm glad to be on the show today. Thank you for having me.
Nick, thank you so much for calling in. Just give us your reaction. It's a big moment for your country. How are you feeling?
Well, it's a beautiful, what we call a rain-shiny morning here in Oregon, where we've got lots of patchy clouds, rain and sun and lots of rainbows. So, it's very fitting backdrop for, this rather unexpected victory. I supported Bernie Sanders earlier in the year. And when the DNC ripped the rug out from under him for the second time, and the media just really failed to support him, I was actually convinced that the Democrats were going to lose this one. And so I'm pleasantly surprised that we've gotten Trump out of the White House. At least that's the way it's looking. Dr. Gorka notwithstanding. I was appalled to hear his testimony. And the historic, election of a vice president who's a woman of color and obviously a person of immense character and much more progressive than I originally gave her credit for, I have to admit. At least that's what it looks like. However, we have obviously a very divided country. The voter turnout was record-breaking, all-time record-breaking, and about half of the country signaled that they wanted more of Trump. So this is something that we have to consider as we celebrate. And this is not to rain on anybody's parade. This is a wonderful victory, very much a symbolic victory. I voted for Joe Biden because, aside from getting Trump out of office, he wanted to put us back in the Paris Climate Accord. And as an ecologist and a humanist, that's all important to me. It's an immensely important symbolic gesture. We should not be signaling to the rest of the world that we're at war with every living thing on the planet.
Nick, that's hugely, hugely important. You will know that whilst he can obviously do that, and he will want to tear up some of those executive orders that Donald Trump took, there will be issues for him if he wants to really move America forward on climate change, if he hasn't got both houses with him.
Oh, boy, will there be issues. Look, we really needed to get rid of Mitch McConnell. Frankly, we also really need to get rid of Nancy Pelosi. She's not been a very effective Speaker of the House. But we were banking on flipping the Senate. We did not. We were banking on making gains in the House. We did not. We had losses in the House, looks like. And the next 2 years are going to be actually very, very difficult. Now, I don't know how this I'm not as savvy with all the technical details of politics and laws that I maybe could be. People in England are usually a lot more knowledgeable about their politics than we are here, I think. But I'm not sure how much of a struggle even getting back into the Paris Climate Accord is going to be for the next couple of years. And this is not a moment when we should relax. Like I said, I live in Oregon. This has been a very beleaguered state here over the last couple of months. We've had historic fires. We've had historic, to be blunt, fascist uprisings here.
I think all of us
Oregon,
are hoping that
extreme far right groups.
All of us are hoping that America comes together and that we do not see unrest as a result of Donald Trump not accepting these votes. Nick in Oregon, thank you for calling in for the first time. Please call in again and have a wonderful day celebrating this historic moment. Rob in Crewe. Rob.
Hello.
Hi,
Hello,
Rob.
David.
How
Thank
are you
for taking
feeling?
the call. Well, I have to say that having seen what Trump's done over the 4 years in terms of foreign policy, saving the troops from having to fight anymore and bringing peace into the Middle East by bringing in economic plans, and the fact that 56% of his people are better off than they were 4 years ago, I'm a little bit confused as to how the results turned out in the way that it has, because a majority of working class people, if their money goes up by the amount that it has done for them over 4 years, when it only went up by half the amount during the Biden-Obama administration, which was 8 years long, you'd have to say that working class people are going to want to have more money in their pockets, regardless of what happens with regard to things like coronavirus. No different to what you're getting up in the north of England here. Now, there's an awful lot of situations that are going on in terms of potential voter fraud. How long have you been involved in politics, David?
20 years.
Right, I've been involved in it for about 30. And I can certainly, from what I've seen...
Rob, what's your
actually
involvement?
showed on the telly.
Just say what your involvement is for the listeners.
Right, I was in the Conservative Party and left when I saw a lot of middle-class elitism going on with regard to regard to Edward Timpson, and I had enough with that, and then I decided to have a look around at alternatives. Most of them offered the same sort of situation, but when Farage created UKIP, an awful lot of people that joined the party were from both the Labour Party and the Tory Party, and
Rob,
they were working class.
What you're saying, I suppose you're striking, you're focusing on almost half of America who did not vote for Joe Biden. They voted for Donald Trump, and I suppose you're landing on those working class that perhaps felt left out of previous deals. That's really what you're saying, right?
Now, the thing is that they are the majority. And if the majority
they're not the majority because they haven't won, have they?
What are they doing? Because the thing is, right, we spoke about this possibility of election fraud. I've been involved in politics long enough to see it, and I'm quite sure you have as well, because I've seen election fraud close up front at a count that happened in Crewe and Nantwich with a local election, where 24 votes were given to the wrong candidate, and they were hidden underneath one of the ballot slips for the candidate that they were originally given to. Now, the decision was overturned. The person that was involved in it got chucked out of the election hall where it was going on. If people are being locked out, and it's been shown on the telly as well, on Sky News, if people are being locked out and they're putting boards up, that is fraudulent and it's illegal.
Rob.
So, as a result, there is evidence
Rob, I've got to say, it's alleged, but most commentators have not found sufficient evidence of this fraud